Lee Kiang from Sabah Business, following up on the question of shareholders. Usually when companies divest or do spin-off, the shareholders get something in return. In this case, SPH is actually pumping resources and funds and property into SPH Media Holdings. Could you better explain to us how this makes economic sense to the shareholders, especially they invest in this company because they probably interested in media business in the first place. So in terms of expected financial performance improvement, what are we expecting? And second question, for the remaining of the listco, is there going to be a change in name? I mean, people are saying SPH will be Singapore Property Holdings instead.
The alternative to ensuring that the transfer entity, SPH Media, has reasonable chance of succeeding in this new structure is that it will remain part of SPH Listco. That's the alternative. It will remain as part of SPH Listco, and we are operating as business as usual. And then, as I said in my earlier response and in my remarks, it will mean that all the issues, all the difficulty faced by SPH Media will impact adversely on the financial performance of SPH listed company. So for the shareholders of SPH, this restructuring with the capitalization of the CLG, or rather the capitalization of the newly incorporated holdco, which will be transferred to the CLG, is a way for them to reduce the drag and the burden on the listed company. And hopefully, over time, the remaining company, the listco, will be able to explore new opportunities, new investments, and create better value for shareholders, and also unlock values for shareholders to benefit, you see. So I think this is a balanced outcome in the sense that shareholders also should understand that all the assets and well-being of SPH, the group as it is today, came about from the media operation of past years, you see. It is only in recent years that media suffered a decline. Previous years, for most of its 37 years, media was the main contributor. So it's not wrong in that sense to ensure that if we are restructuring media, that media should receive startup grants from the parent company to ensure that it can, take off into the future. I said in my statement that the transfer includes all the intellectual property of SPH Media, which will obviously include all the titles, all the mastheads, and also the name SPH Singapore Press Holding Limited. So you may ask, why do you want to transfer the name over? Why don't you keep the name? Well, we see it this way. Singapore Press Holding is a name that reflects the principal business of the company when it was founded in 1984 and has been so for most of its 37 years. And with this restructuring, the listco will no longer be engaged in media business at all. It will become a property holding company. Okay? So it does not make sense to try to retain the name Singapore Press Holding in the remaining listed company. On the other hand, the new holdco and with shareholders' approval transfer to the CLG, they will become the operational entity for the media business. They will be fully committed in carrying out the media business in the future. And so the name is far more appropriate for them than it is for the remaining listed company. And that's why we will transfer the name to the holdco. Of course, that leads us with another question, which you haven't asked yet, that what is the name for the remaining company? My answer is that we still have time to think about that. We will seek shareholders' approval in due course when we come to the stage of having a new name.
Can I address the question of why is it the interest of shareholders? I think given where we are today, given the declining revenue trend, all right, and relatively the scope for further cost cuts, I think we say that we expect the losses that we have seen in the media business today to continue for at least in the next immediate future. And in fact, I think we expect perhaps given where COVID is, some of the losses to widen. All right. So what we are offering to shareholders is, and this uncertainty about the financial performance of the media business for the next couple of years, it's going to be overhang. It's going to be cast a cloud over the overall performance of the SPH shares. So I think what we're offering for shareholders is a one-time impact, but we remove this uncertainty. And also, in doing so, if the government agrees, and they've signaled that they have agreed to lift the restrictions of MPPA from the company, then I think with shareholders, together with shareholders, we can now look at how we can restructure the shareholding structures and the capital base to be able to pursue new directions for the rest of the non-media business. Okay, so that's really the what is in it for the shareholders. All right, removing the uncertainty of the possible continual losses with a one-time impact. Okay, and then we can, and then also I think with the new flexibility of offered with the lifting of the restrictions on MPPA, and that's where I think we believe that this is a deal that that is good for the interest of the shareholders.